All right. So let's take us to the, where are we right now? In your kitchen again. I
You
love
are
it.
in the kitchen because this is where it goes down. And the kitchen is really the place that we get to talk about the foods that we can decolonize our tongues with. The truth of the matter is that many of us who are listening, I mean, we're listening from all over the world. I know that everybody's joining us, but especially people in the so called Western Hemisphere, many of our ancestors were brought, millions of them from West Africa, from Central Africa, from areas even further south and further north than that to this hemisphere in order to work for food. It was Europe's taste for sugar. There we get to talk about the foods that coming back, the sugar, the salt, the spices. This is all the kinds of stuff that we were brought here to farm. And so as we decolonize our tongues, we owe it to ourselves to taste food and know where it comes from and know our relationship or relationships we need to break up. Sometimes you got to break up. It's time to break up. Right. So in this case, we're going to talk about tasting the rainbow. And I have my rainbow on today. And I want us to think of outside of the stuff, the poison they try to sell us and our children, like Skittles and crazy stuff. We're going to taste the real rainbow. And I'd like to start with what we drink in the morning. So we're going to start with a latte. I'm just going to show you what I drink in the morning and take you through some of these superfoods, which help balance your hormones, increase your energy level, help you move away from caffeine if you want to, help you have clearer skin and less wrinkling of the skin. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? But just the wear and tear that we endure, especially being stressed out. It is stressful just living here as a person of color, living anywhere on the globe pretty much, right? So let's start down this way. And I arranged it in a rainbow kind of situation. And we're going to pan on the rainbow so you can just see what I have prepared for you as we go through. So we're going into the greens, we're going into the browns, and we're going to get down. How about that? I decided to rhyme. I was like, that should rhyme. Okay, so we're going to start here. And this is a superfood that a lot of folks don't necessarily use often, but we should, which is Anato. And Anato comes from the Anato seed and it's ground down into a powder. And Anato powder is amazing. This is something that helps us with our hormones, our energy level. It's something that you find a lot in, if you like yellow rice. I know lots of folks who are listening in or tuning in and in the community here. Nubians love yellow rice. We haven't met a yellow rice we don't love. And so Anato is what makes the rice yellow, but it is also helping your skin, your hair. This is an amazing thing. So I made a little latte here. You see him. And he is oat milk shook with the Anato. And we have an opportunity to use a little turbinado sugar, which I like because this is going to be better for us than, let's say, our any white sugars and some of the other artificial substitutes. Don't use that stuff. That stuff has lots of side effect that you don't want. So this kind of thing you're stirring in there, and that gives you an opportunity to sweeten it. And then take it out when you're
Dr. Sunyatta, I'm sorry, Sunyatta, do you stir until it dissolves? Like how, or can you reuse that once you start stirring?
Use it, and you can take it out and make it to the sweetness that you desire, which is nice, right? And turbinado sugar, we have a relationship with this sugar, right? Because this is one of the main reasons why slavery began in the Western Hemisphere was sugar. And sugar originally looked like this when it was farmed, crystals. So it's time for us to actually get back to crystals and get away from white sugar, even the brown sugar, which is really just white sugar colored with molasses. This is the real sugar. It's sharp. It's like crystals. And this is the chemical formula of how sugar comes out. It comes out in a crystalline form. So this is the real deal Holyfield right here.
And I've never heard of Anato before today. I'm today years old
But
learning about Anato.
you
What
had
does
yellow rice.
I'm like, what is that? Where does it grow? What
You
does it taste like?
had yellow rice.
I love yellow rice, saffron, but it's saffron, right?
Here's the thing, is that saffron is one of the world's most expensive spices because it's just a stamen of a flower. That one little, like if you look at a tiger lily and you just see that one little stamen coming out, imagine you have to pluck a gazillion of them to just get a package of annatto. And so real annatto is going to be like $40 for like 3 stamen. So this is what is usually grown in the Caribbean. And when you have yellow rice, Saison is made out of annatto. All of the seasonings that like adobo has it in it. Annatto tastes, it has, I'm gonna taste it for you. It has a flavor that would remind you of like turmeric or ginger, but not as bitey, not as warm. But that's what gives that like earthy bottom. Like your rice has to have a booty on it. You know what I mean? Like it has to, and that's
So
what
the junk in the trunk. All right. So what does Anato do for the body?
Annatto's amazing. This is something that's a great detoxifier to the system. We should be using this more as a superfood. I love annatto, and not only the flavor helps balance your digestive system, but it helps eliminate gas, which is not sexy. So having an annatto latte is a great way to soothe the stomach, and it just looks amazing. Imagine having this in your kitchen. You have the opportunity to make rice, but it's not just the rice. You want to really eat the whole rainbow with this.
I know a lot of folk were curious about portions, right? Because most of us have a cabinet full of calabash everything. How much of that to the oat milk, and what is it cold? Can you serve it heated? How what's the
This is
process?
a great question. And once I go through these, I'm going to show you by making the one I'm making. And
Okay. All right. I'm gonna say less then. Let me shut my mouth.
no, it's good. That's a great question. All right, so let's come on down here. Maca. I can't say enough about maca. Maca helps balance hormones. It's super high in antioxidants. It is extremely high in amino acids. It's got a lot of vitamin E in it. So it's great for sex hormones and balancing the hormones. Like if folks are having menopausal, perimenopausal issues, if men are having issues with their hormones or their testosterone. Maca is a superfood that is grown mostly in Peru and the surrounding areas of the Andes Mountains. And it is the kind of food that provides energy. So the men who are running in the Andes, and these areas have mountainous regions where the air is super thin. What they're doing is they're having this so that they are recovering. So if you're a runner, if you're somebody who is working out more and you need a recovery food afterward, if you're somebody who's going to start working out more, maca is the thing. And if you want a latte in the evening that is nutritious for you, but you don't want caffeine, this is your jams.
Now it tastes like earth. Like you taught me to put a little bit of that maca with my matcha,
Yeah.
and the smell of it smells like pure earth, like
You know,
dirt.
that's an interesting perspective. You know what it smells like to me is it smells like malt. If you're used to malted milk
Okay, yeah, I
or
don't know anything about malt. Malt is not in my
malt,
uh
no. Um,
okay.
so like it has a little vanilla-ness to it. And I actually love it with my matcha, like you mentioned, because matcha has a flavor because it's a green tea leaf. It has a flavor like sounds like that, right? Flavors have a sound to me. I know I'm a weirdo, right? But and maca sounds like so you have like they go together and they harmonize because that flavor of matcha is so green. Sometimes people don't like it because it's like high,
Bitter.
bitter, and
Yeah.
green. And the maca to me tones it down. It's like easy, girl, easy, take it easy.
So
So
you're saying you can do maca by itself because I
yes,
didn't know. And with oat milk? Somebody asked, can you do it with almond milk? What can you do it with any other kind of nut milk?
You can do it with any of the milks
Okay. All right.
that you like. I would say that it's great to stay away from dairy, you know. So it's great with the oat, with the almond, with the rice, the cashew milk, any milk that you want, it'll work with any of these. So let's go to the next one. I think I got one of them in my hair, which is going to make it very lustrous later. All right. So we have ginger turmeric. And the reason I love ginger turmeric is because I absolutely love combining rhizome roots. Ginger is a rhizome, turmeric is a rhizome root. And here we have them, right? Our turmeric and our ginger. And the reason I really love them is because they're sisters, right? They're different, but they're sisters. So, you know, like my eyebrows, they're 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 sisters. They're always going to be different. So these combined is like superpowers combined. Wonder Twins activate. So what you end up having is a latte that gives you more anti-inflammatory perspective, right, in your body. This is really going to help. This gives you great skin, your hair, your nails, everything responds to this a lot. So anti-inflammatory to the max. Can you see that one?
Yes. Looks beautiful. Oh, sultry.
And one of the things that you'll want to put on this too, stay right there. I'm going to fetch it for you.
She said fetch.
I am.
You are so, yes, Caribbean. She's going to fetch it.
Is fresh black pepper.
Oh.
And the reason we're putting the pepper on there is because the turmeric, in order to get all of the curcumin, which is what helps with inflammation, you need piperine, which is what's contained in black pepper, to really let your liver be able to absorb it and your body. This is absolutely delicious. And we have to decolonize our tongues. We have to feel like black pepper can go in a drink, y'all. It doesn't have to be just in your food. And that means if you're making curry dishes, which we will do later, if you're going to use curry, and of course, this is not all that constitutes curry, but it is some of the key ingredients, using black pepper is absolutely essential to make sure that your food is your medicine.
Mm.
All right, so we're going to come to the next one, which is 14 mushroom, which is mushrooms. And what I like is a mix of mushrooms. So this has lion's mane mushroom. It has shiitake. It has maitake. It has reishi. So these mushrooms that are in here are great for your system. Mushrooms are going to give you potassium. Mushrooms are going to give you energy. This is also very good for sex hormones, right? And it doesn't matter if you're not getting down with somebody else, you want all your plumbing in working order. Stop playing games. So this one is one of my favorites. And I typically have this every day. And look at my fingers, they have found that mushrooms, there was a whole show the other day on Discovery about how mushrooms stimulate brain function and help us avoid Alzheimer's and dementia. And so this is the time to start taking it. Don't wait until you feel in some kind of way, you have other kinds of issues. Let's get ahead of it with this kind of preventative medicine.
Now, does that live on its own? Like you just put a scoop of that in some almond milk? What does that taste? Does it taste like, I hate mushrooms personally as a person. I don't like mushrooms. Word to the mother. Word to the mother. And I think it's because I see them growing out in the yard, like, and I don't know which ones are poisonous. I guess which ones are poisonous, I don't know. Dr. Sunyatta.
Things. Number one, do not eat the mushrooms from the yard. Number two, you'd be surprised that mushroom latte is chocolatey. No joke. It tastes like chocolate. It has you don't know how many people come in our shop and they're like, I hate mushrooms, can't stand it. But they've been used to those slimy little things that people put stuff, and that's from a can, and it's weird. And anytime we say we don't like a food, we really need to examine, has it been through a colonized lens? Has it been because we had it in a certain way, like those little rubbery, slimy things on a pizza, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. But if you had real mushrooms, and if I make you mushrooms, then you know what it is. So this tastes chocolatey. It is absolutely delicious. And often we'll combine this with the maca, and it's like a superfood powerhouse happens. When you eat that, you start vibrating. You can't even, there's nothing you can do with that. Nobody can stop you.
Ah,
So the mushroom is great. I'm telling you, it doesn't taste like mushroom at all, like what you would think of. It's less earthy even than the maca, believe it or not. So here we have some beet powder. I love beet powder. And beet is the kind of thing that, I mean, who doesn't love beets as a powder? Now, lots of us may not like beets. And again, we talk about through a colonized lens, we may not like beets because what happens is we've been fed beets when we were in like kindergarten and they were boiled or whatever they torture the food with. And we're like, I hate that. I don't like it. But you would be shocked at how absolutely delicious this latte is. My goodness, look at it. It's sexy. You got to have the whole rainbow. And this joint right here is like tarty, kind of milky because I used oat milk with these. So it has like a cream, like how, you know how peaches and cream go together, or like a like creamsicle, like how you used to have like the orangey or tart, and you put cream with it. It has that kind of feeling because beets have a tartness to it, right? And beets are good for the blood. They're an amazing blood strengthener and cleaner. The beets are great for your skin. I mean, they're amazing. Beets are the bomb. Yeah, it's the beet you like. It's that.
I actually love beets, and I just started roasting my own and pickling. I've learned how to pickle beets this season and put them in salads. I love beets with different kinds of vinegar, and man,
Beets.
yeah.
And I got to tell you, I from childhood, I was like, I don't know if I like this thing. And it was really my dad made this latte for me. Maybe I was in like second grade, and I was like, oh, okay, I do like beets. It isn't beets I don't like, it's the way people were making it. It's the way that they got them all squishy, or they boiled them and it just wasn't good. There's a lot of stuff we actually would like in its natural state. It's time to decolonize our thoughts on food, really. We're
Yes.
out on some gems. So our next gem is matcha. And matcha is a super winner. I know you love matcha, Kim.
Yes. Every day. I'm an everyday matcha person,
Professor Hunter's everyday matcha.
even though it's got my eye twitching because I think I do too much.
So
I'm extreme.
right. Well, when we roll down, I'm gonna show you how I make mine so we don't get too extreme. You go hard in the paint. I love that.
Do with everything, which is why I gotta.
That's how we function. Taurian women are hard in the paint on everything. Watch out, people. So our matcha is a powdered, finely powdered green tea. And matcha has the ability to give us the energy we need without going to coffee. We don't need too much because we don't want our eye twitching, right? But we do want to make sure that we have something that gives us fiber. So if you're having coffee in the morning, it's just running through you. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I need that coffee in order to go to the bathroom in the morning. First of all, we need to have a conversation about how much water you're having and the other stuff in your diet. But let's set that aside for a second. And let's look at the fact that matcha gives us more than even a green tea where we throw the leaves away, because this means we're eating the leaves. In this case, the latte that we're making has fiber in it because we're eating the leaves, and it also has higher antioxidants by about 100 times. It has higher mineral content. Everything is so much better because we're eating the whole food. That's why the people name their company that. They don't took your joint and named a whole company. And so this is why this is amazing for you.
Let
And
me ask you a question.
uh-huh.
'Cause everybody now is matcha, 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 matcha. You go to the place with the bucks, and they have a matcha, but theirs has sugar in it, right? And so you can't control the levels of sugar, and I don't know what they're putting in it. So I prefer my own. I don't put any sugar in mine, but I now see your sugar sticks, which you can get at Calabash Tea if you want a little sweet, because it's bitter. I like it bitter. I've been drinking green tea straight with nothing in it for
Right.
the last 10 years. So I've grown accustomed to that taste. But the leaves, talk about, like, not all leaves, not all matcha is equal, right?
It's not. That's a great point. There's culinary grade matcha, which is something that typically is cooked with in other countries. And then there is ceremonial grade matcha, which is going to be something that is used for drinking because it's considered a ceremony when you make this tea for yourself. And that's how we need to think about it. These are self-care ceremonies. And every single thing that we do it should have a purpose. Every food is our medicine or our poison, and we take our choice every single time. It's no neutral food. Not even water is neutral, right? So when we talk about the matcha, we want the one where the tea plant is growing, and they take the first pluck, which is the first 3 to 4 leaves off the top. And that's what they're drying and giving us. The older leaves that are at the bottom have already given everything they can to the top leaves of the plant, which would go on to pollinate the plant. So that's the culinary matcha that they're picking, that is going to be from the leaves that have been on there for a while. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. So matcha is my every morning, right? Matcha is everything to me because my whole staff takes matcha in the morning as a latte, and it's an opportunity to pick up but not to tweak out. So this is a great replacement for coffee, right? So we're going to come down. Our next man's here is Morenga. Now, Moringa is absolutely amazing. And as you mentioned a second ago, Professor Hunter, that matcha is having a moment, right? So even the big corporations are using it. Moringa's, to me, up next.